everybody, how's it? Aloha. Them Crooked Vultures I just did. I feel so bobo. My goodness, I had no idea who was in that band until I did my research to pop up some of the Spotify, and I went, oh my God, you're kidding me. But I guess that makes this really fun, right? This is, the first time listen reaction stuff that I do. I have no idea. But I know who these guys are because I've done a couple already on Gojira. I say their name right. Thanks to all of you. Thank you very much. This is Amazonia. I've done a few of them already. Want to let you guys know really quick. I can't believe it, but I've done like 160 videos. So you'd be surprised how many people say, hey, check this out, and I've actually done it. So maybe go to my home page and the little search magnifying glass and just tap into it and then type in your favorite band and stuff. There's a pretty good chance, since we're all getting used to a particular playlist that I kind of jive through, and we have a lot of a lot of like-minded taste here. You never can tell. Thank you guys for your support. Cup of coffee, because you guys know advertisement pops up, doesn't monetize the channel. Thank you very much. It also helps me what I do with the kids. I'll also have links for Gojira, their music, their merch, Spotify down below. So let's do this. Gojira, Amazonia. All right. Alright, I'm really trying not to watch the video, but I am getting completely soul crushed by what I see, and I am, oh God, this world. Anyhow, so this is not about the video, but I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth here. Let me get to what this is about here on the Decomposer Lounge with your old composer. That opening, what it sounds like is a mouth harp. And for those of you who don't know what that is, you can look it up and stuff. Very super cool instrument. It has a very cultural legacy, not just the mouth harp, but things like that, or a didgeridoo, or certain instruments and cultures that have been played in music, which is a lot of history telling way back thousands and thousands of years of us humans. Sitting around the campfire telling story. One of the very first types of tonal music is a constant of something, the one string or something. I'm not a musicologist and I'm not a theory specialist and stuff, but just from my brief, almost 50 years of composing and doing what I do, viscerally, that sound right there automatically is kind of like a pull from here. Like you can hear it. You hear it also in bagpipes and other in other continents, anywhere around the world, there's a consistency of that sound. Now, then these guys come in and completely crush it by actually, in unison with the heavy guitars and stuff, match that pattern. And that is really, really super cool. And the fact that that mouth harp actually is holding the position here in the center, the power of the guitars coming in here is like jet fuel to the journey. These guitar sounds and tones seem real heavy and dirty and dark. And at first I was like going, oh, that's a unique, tone for the guitars and stuff. And then I started glancing into the video and I was like, oh no, this is fantastic. A little bit of activism, musical activism. I'm down for that. We all do that. Some of the musical activism doesn't necessarily have to do with the environment. It could also have to do with people, souls, love, life, and everything else. That's why, in particular, it fits in the soundtrack of life. Then they get into it, the vocal, I don't know what the words are. He's killing it with his performance, but his cadence and his rhythmic arrangement in this is just as powerful as everything else. It's locking up really nicely. Not in unison, but it's locking up really nicely. And then there's this nice turnaround that they do before that hook that changes the rhythm up a little bit, and that also leads me into it. I'm sorry, this doesn't sound like my typical breakdown because I'm really actually taking it when I'm watching it. I'm trying not to, but I have a funny feeling I might be doing a tug of war between what I'm seeing and listening. So stand by, let's keep doing this. All right. Okay, before we go a little further, that breakdown is so important in this song, that power of silence, a certain kind of silence. We've just been slammed by this wall of arrangements and composition and musicianship, and then to come around and just go right into a drum beat, it kind of like is resetting the ears and getting us ready for another thing. And I didn't expect what I just heard with that kind of chanting. I'm sorry. Another thing is with the vocals during the hook and even during the performance of it, it does sound layered. Engineering technique, sometimes you double a performance or triple a performance, pull those back a little bit to give it some thickness and richness. By virtue of what I'm watching here and what I'm hearing, it is just a wall of anger. And I mean, the energy, and I see it, I feel it, I see it. Not this. If this was a movie, this is the perfect soundtrack. I sound like I might be a little social babbling right now, but this is really a super perfect timing for this. It's of course not the only band or musician or artist and stuff that does things for environmental awareness and stuff, but the way this has been produced so far is third eye purple level. You guys know how I talk about that. Also, I want to bring up one last thing I forgot to say. At the very beginning, I heard some whistling. It could have been some cultural instruments from some of the native tribes or something in Amazon, along the Amazon River and stuff like that. And I heard some other whistling, and I heard it sounded like some choral chants of stuff in the background as well, nicely pocketed in the mix. And I just wanted to bring that up because I didn't say it in the first stop. Okay, here we go. The bass player has such an intense responsibility with this, and it sounds like he's using a really brutal kind of just cab sound with, you know, maybe a distortion somewhere in the chain. A lot of times when recording basses, engineers, producers, or bass players, because a lot of bands now are also self-engineered, or at least somebody or a couple people from the band are usually very an intricate part of the engineering. Sometimes you'll have a direct box, you know, which means it's just a line from the bass straight into the console, and then you'll have an effect one, and then you'll have, you know, mics set up, you know, in the cabinets and stuff like that. This is a very fat, super fat, rich bass sound, and he has a lot of responsibility because the width of that bottom is pretty fat, while the rest of the change-ups and the musicians in the guitar arrangements are moving around. And don't forget, you know, as we're listening to this, we're hearing more than just guitars. There's other arrangements, and there's some voice work that's happening back there. There is a couple times I've heard it seemingly kind of ghost-sounding voice work. Mostly at the beginning, you could hear that really clear. Then I heard it again on this last passage. So a very haunting sound, of course, for the message that's being delivered. And the drummer, my goodness, between the drummer and the bass, because that's another thing that's wonderful about, you see, the drums have the dubious distinction of fills, right? So at the end of every X amount of measures or something, in order to indicate, you know, a change or to emphasize the power of just a change of let's say a chord, is at that right fills. In guitar, in the bass, you could say it's the same thing, a fill, but I like to call them passages or phrases. I'm sorry. And listen to those guys work together with their phrases. You know, at the end of certain measures and stuff like that, the tom fills or the drum fills. Super duper tasteful. That nice little breakdown was cool. I didn't know what was going to go on there. I thought for sure he was going to keep going, and maybe it was going to be some kind of percussive, visceral, cultural kind of vibe. But he took us right in. Took us right back into just that. Looked like a telly with humbucker. Get into it and get right back into the mouth organ and stuff. So let's keep going and let's finish this up. Hear that? Yeah, chicken skin on that one, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, man. There's a lot of heaviness in this song. You know, obviously message-wise. It's a really heavy thing. It's a real thing that's happening in our world. And it really is, you know, as much as I'd love to give those corporations the people's elbow, you know, we just do what we can and reflect on it. And when you have a band that has a following and are an artist, I think it's, oh God, who's the lead singer of System of the Down? Sorry. You know, he's on a really heavy mission to bring awareness to, you know, the plight of the Armenian culture and all that. You know, it gets to a point sometimes where an artist, a band, an actor, and an actress, boy, we've seen that, you know, they take a stance and stuff, and it's, you know, it's a shot over the bow of the power of music and stuff like that. But for me, when I see something like this, and it just, it paints a very human soul to the persona of the band. For me, this is just my interpretation of it. Like there's a connection there, because by powering this song the way they did as the message, all of us feel it. You know, we all feel what's going on, and it just sucks beyond ridiculous. Anyhow, but I try to not to go into any kind of, you know, any of that, but it just touches me as an older guy who's been around for a little bit and seen the stuff just go down and stuff. Great musicianship, a lot of layers happening there, a lot of very unique layer sound effects. Also, there was a little area, if you listened really close, I believe it was just this last pass I just made, where you really just hear the mouth harp. If you listen closely, you can also hear what sounds like indigenous people talking. Very low, very, very low. But that's part of the complete magic of a song when it's delivered to the public. That, you know, it's the unsung hero. You know, when you look at a house, you go, oh, what a beautiful house. But a lot of times you don't get broken into who did the finishing work, or who did the, you know, who cut the marble, or who did this and all that. There's just, as you are the pure listener. You listen to the song and enjoy it and just take it in. Me, unfortunately, I'm afflicted as the old composer. I can never really listen to a song and just, you know, necessarily just go, hey, what's up? You know, I'm already going chop, 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 chop. This sounds great. Wow, how did they do that? Kind of a thing. But I'm glad I can bring a little bit of that to you. This ended up probably being a much longer video than it should have been. But hey, this is what I do. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys so much for the cup of coffee, should you see fit. You guys, I think, would be pretty interested in where some of that money goes with the kids. I'm a ventriloquist, and well, I was touring Children's Hospital until COVID. I'm hoping to do it again by the end of this year. And so some of that money goes to help that, so that's super cool beans. Links for the music, links for the merchandise, and Spotify will be down below. Thank you so much for hanging in there for this long-winded video. If you're still here, type in Amazonia, 2 exclamation points. All right.